Because when you're down and out and you're really up against it, just remember the basics. It's a mantra, repeatedly say this. You're not a loser, it's just everybody's racist.
At this point, the Democrat Party has become the party of the boy who cried wolf, right? If you have any type of pushback on any of their policies, they're going to automatically brand you as a racist person, all right? So even if you have legitimate criticism, even if you have a real disagreement, or even if you're just making fun of them, they're going to brand you as the worst person possible and having the worst motivations possible. But the good news is all of this is worn off and no one cares anymore. And we're going to see this pointed out in real time by Virginia State Delegate Nick Freitas, all right? So before we get to this clip, don't forget to like and comment on this video so we can break through the algorithms. Here we go.
Speaker, I rise for a point of personal privilege.
Delegate has the floor.
Well, Mr. Speaker, a Democrat has got up and essentially accused us that if we don't want to do what they want to do in order to solve a problem, we're racist, or we're mean, or we're stupid, or we're bigoted, or we're incompetent. So it must be any other day of the week, because that's pretty much how this narrative always goes. I mean, it's always the party of tolerance that is immediately ready to accuse us of the worst possible intentions if we disagree. I thought for a moment we wanted to talk about facts, so Delegate Coiner got up and she delivered some facts that were relevant with respect to the education of our children. But no, you're just a racist. It's the same old grift in a different day. And we're tired of it. Because I don't know anybody on this side of the aisle, and I don't think I know anybody on that side of the aisle that doesn't want to do what's best for our children, but we will disagree on what that is. And I can tell you, for all the talk on the other side of the aisle, talking about we tried to do this and we wanted to do this and you voted against it, and because you voted against what the Democrats wanted to do, therefore you don't care. Listen, I got to tell you, Mr. Speaker, my constituents look at a lot of the things that our Democrat colleagues want to do, and their response is, please stop helping. Because they don't know if their business or their child or their family or their community can survive yet another tax, regulation, rule, restriction, fee, government program, government spending. Because I'll guarantee this much, Mr. Speaker, when it comes to the Democrat side of the aisle, the solution is always the same: give politicians and bureaucracies more power at the expense of individual liberty, individual freedom, property rights, you name it. We sit here and we wonder why we have problems in systems which are increasingly under the control of politicians and bureaucrats. I don't know about you, Mr. Speaker, but I don't look at many of the challenges that I face in my life and think to myself, you know what would make this better? Giving politicians more money and power. And yet that seems to be the exclusive approach coming from our friends on the other side of the aisle. And if you don't accept that, if you don't accept a solution that gives them more power, you must be a bad person. Mr. Speaker, I don't care what they call me anymore. I just don't. Once upon a time, I might have, a little bit. But I don't anymore. Because I see it for what it is. It's not just ideology and political manipulation. Sometimes it's just downright dishonesty. Because, let's face it, we do try to do our best to actually get along around here from time to time. But then as soon as we're on this floor, all of a sudden, nope, you don't do what we want, you're racist, sexist, bigoted, suffering from some sort of phobia, or whatever else it is. Here's an idea, Mr. Speaker. Maybe the people on this side of the aisle generally believe that when you put more power into the hands of the people that earn the money, the people that are raising the families, you get better results. That's it. It's not because we're mean, it's not because we're bad. We just believe in a society where the government isn't constantly intervening into every aspect of our lives. And whether you like it or not, when you talk about freedom on the other side of the aisle, it is always from the perspective of, here's another government program that's going to provide X. Every time you take a dollar, every time you make a rule, every time you make a restriction, you are ultimately limiting the choices that people are able to make in their own lives. The more you plan from a centralized perspective, the more planning opportunities you take away from people that, generally speaking, know far more about what they need for their individual lives and decisions than any of us do. And so I understand that you may want to get up here and lecture us all on how altruistic you are, but you know what? It's really easy to be generous with everybody else's money. So let's just face it. I think we both want solutions. Ours are generally going to favor putting more decision-making power into the hands of individuals. Because we don't believe that as politicians, somehow when we got elected, we were automatically imbued with all of the intelligence and wisdom necessary to be able to micromanage the individual lives and decisions of over 8 million Virginians. And that doesn't make us mean, Mr. Speaker. It used to mean what a free country was. Because if the only thing freedom means is that you get to elect politicians to micromanage your life, well, then we're not living in a free country. So maybe what's required out of this body, Mr. Speaker, is a little bit less hubris. So I will do my best to not question the intentions of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. I think you're wrong a lot, and I know you think I'm wrong a lot. The difference is that when I think you're wrong, I don't typically chalk it up to you being stupid, evil, mean, or racist. Maybe you could try the same thing. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Oh, yeah. That was on fire. Yes, this is the fundamental disagreement between the two sides, right? Big government versus small government. Do you have the ability, do you have the right to watch over your own life, right? To control your own money and make your own decisions. But I love how he points out that, yeah, when we have these disagreements, you always say the same thing, right? We are dumb, we are racist, we're bigots, we're homophobes, all that stuff. But they've said this so often that it no longer matters to us, right? It used to be a horrible thing to be called a racist, right? Because back then, the accusation actually meant something. And most likely it was true. But nowadays, everything is racist, okay? And even if you're not, most people clued in that, oh, there's a whole bunch of hoaxes out there. Oftentimes, people are lying. And what one person considers to be racist, specifically on the left, is often not racist at all, okay? And that, of course, is the point we're living in, all right? We no longer care. We are immune, and the left has done the inoculation. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, and say hi to your mom for me.